You do propose, you said you propose to repeal the Affordable Health Care, ObamaCare, if you will. Now, the CBO says that it cost over 20 years, what, $1.7 trillion?
So what's interesting about CBO's analysis of ObamaCare is every year you go farther, this whole estimation changes. The problem with ObamaCare is we're just watching this slow-rolling fiasco. Is the rates are going to be really high. You're going to kick a lot of people off of insurance. You're putting people on a broken system like Medicaid. And, oh, by the way, providers are just about to get hit with massive provider cuts, which means, according to the actuaries at CMS, providers are going to start going out of business, going bankrupt. This is not going to work. And so what we say is let's get rid of this and start over with patient-centered healthcare reform.
But you know, we already have now, what, about 15 million people. They're going to be 30 million people by 2017. You are not going to repeat. You can change, you can alter, you can tweak, you can whatever.
I question the premise of that entire argument. No, I don't know that. So this whole thing that, well, we have 7.1 million people, which, by the way, we won't even get into the legitimacy of that statistic. So we have, let's just take it for argument. 7 million people on Obamacare. There's no way you can change it. It's good. You're just going to have to learn to live with it. I don't buy that for a second.
So you think it will be repealed by the next president?
CBO is telling us that we'll still have 31 million people uninsured after we did all of this to the healthcare sector.
You think it will be repealed?
I don't think it can last. Yeah, I think the architecture of this law is so fundamentally flawed that I think it's going to collapse under its own weight. Yes, I really do believe in the next administration, with a better Congress, that we will replace this law and save the healthcare system.
Some of the things you might replace or not replace. Just a couple provisions that are popular.
There's some things in here that,
It bans insurance companies from discriminating for pre-existing conditions. It lets you keep kids on your insurance till you're 26. It bars insurance companies from creating different rates for people who engage in physical labor, like roofers and waitresses. It closes a donut hole, $10 billion more for seniors for prescription drugs. Will those all survive? Will they be changed?
So we can go through each one of those, and I have an answer specifically for each one of those. But if you look at these kinds of reforms where they've been tried before, say the state of Kentucky, for example, you basically make it impossible to underwrite insurance. You dramatically crank up the cost, and you make it hard for people to get affordable health care. Here's the argument I would make. We can have in this country universal access to affordable health insurance for everybody, including people with pre-existing conditions, without a costly government takeover of 1/6 of our economy. And I think there are better ideas and better reforms for getting at these very serious issues without these kinds of things that needlessly jeopardize the health care for people who like what they have.
To keep all those protections, kids on insurance.
That particular one was in the Republican alternative back in 2009.
And not discriminate against people who do physical labor, like roofers?
There are better ways of dealing with those particular issues.
But still be covered?
Yes, and I think there are better ways of dealing with those very serious and legitimate issues without doing it this way, because I think this is the wrong approach.
And the same thing with filling the donut hole, so-called donut hole.
Look, how long do you have? Do you want to get into it all?
No.
The point I'm trying to make out is I think this command and control approach, which says have the government command and lead in the healthcare system, isn't going to work. I believe that there are patient-centered reforms with the right kinds of patient reforms that make sure that people with pre-existing conditions get the subsidies and the care that they need, to make sure that there are the kinds of insurance rules so that insurance works well, but that it's competitive.